Okay, gang, this is Alex Aitman coming at you, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of help you figure out, um, what might be the best, or really how to learn the final expense product line. And I know we got you started initially with maybe CFG or maybe Mutual of Omaha first, but some of the other products have certain advantages than the others. Like, for example, whenever you encounter a client with COPD, typically we'll go with Monumental Life because they're more friendly to COPD sufferers. They'll most of the other companies will do graded benefit, but Monumental Life will do level benefit for COPD. So whenever you hear COPD, then you want to default to Monumental. Also, if height and weight's an issue, if they don't fit into the height and weight standards on the other final expense products, if they're over the age of 45, then Monumental is our company, the go-to company, because they have no height and weight standards, all right, for over age 45 and over. I think they're also good for Parkinson's. I think it's level benefit versus graded with the other companies. So there are certain things that each company has that might be better defined than the other, but the only way to really learn it is to learn it. And the way to do that is really print out all of your applications for the state that you're in for all the companies. The main ones that we write with is Foresters, Mutual of Omaha, CFG, and Monumental. The Foresters product is a Plan Right product. The Mutual of Omaha is the Living Promise product. CFG is a Dignified Choice product. And then the Monumental is the Solutions product. So those are the four main final expense products that we write. And so it would just make sense for you to, in order to learn it, is to compare the applications with each other, because really the application is the underwriting guide. The client answers yes or no to each section. For example, there's a knockout section in each of the four companies' application where if they answer yes in the first section, the knockout section, then they can't get into the product at all. And if that's the case with any of our companies, then we default to Kemper Life because Kemper Life is a guaranteed issue product, and it is in certain states and not in other states. You're going to have to know which state you're in that allows Kemper. Okay, and then typically the next section with each of the applications after the knockout section is a section for graded versus full benefit programs. The graded benefit is determined by if it's yes in the second section, then they can only get the graded benefit. If it's all no's in that second section, then they can get the full benefit program available to them, and certainly they'll have a price break on it. And then even with Monumental, there's a preferred versus standard rating. So Monumental tends to be really good on the underwriting as far as that's concerned. Okay, but the way that, but there are certain nuances of the questions that you got to, kind of look at to see how each company defines certain things. So you have to look at those nuances in your state. So here, so let's kind of go through it so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we have Columbian Financial Group's Dignified Choice, and this is for the state of Ohio. All right. So state of Ohio has graded benefit and full benefit programs. So let's take a look at these sections. So let's take a look at so this is CFG and Foresters Plan Right. So Foresters Plan Right's here on the left, and this is their section. So you see on Foresters Plan Right medical questions here. If a yes answer in Part A, if there is a yes answer in Part A, the proposed insured is not eligible for Foresters Plan Rights, so do not complete or submit this application. So this Part A is the knockout part. Here in CFG's Dignified Choice, Part 1 is the knockout section. If any question in this section is answered yes, do not submit the application. Let's kind of look at these between these two companies, and we'll look at the other two companies. So, are you currently resident in a nursing home, skilled nursing facility, a patient in a hospital, or psychiatric facility, receiving or have been advised to receive skilled nursing care, hospice care, or home health care, confined to a correctional facility. Okay, so the answer yes to that question. So CFG has a very similar question. Is the proposed insured currently hospitalized, confined to a nursing home, hospice bed, or confined to a wheelchair um, due to a disease or chronic illness, institutionalized, receiving home health care, ever been recommended for an organ or bone marrow transplant, or ever had a heart and lung, liver, bone marrow transplant, or ever had an amputation due to disease, or within the last 12 months received kidney dialysis. So there's a few more things in there. When you look at part one in part A in Forster's plan right here on the left, they add for question 2, do you require a wheelchair due to a chronic illness or disease, or do you require assistance from anyone with activities of daily living such as taking medications, bathing, dressing, eating, or toileting? Okay, so do you require a wheelchair due to chronic illness and disease? Again, this is the same thing. Confined to a wheelchair. Okay. Now this is a little, not like read it, confined to a wheelchair. If they can still walk, they're not confined. But here, do require a wheelchair due to chronic illness. So there's a little bit of a nuance there. Within the past 12 months, have you used or been advised to use oxygen equipment, assisting in breathing, excluding use for sleep apnea, or had been advised to have kidney dialysis? Okay. The kidney dialysis questions also here. Receive kidney dialysis. Okay. The breathing, oxygen should be in here somewhere. Oh, maybe not. Home, receive home health care. Okay. Terminal illness for Down syndrome, ALS. Huh. So CFG, there doesn't appear to be an oxygen question, but here, past 12 months, used or been advised to use oxygen equipment to assist in breathing. Part one here, there doesn't appear to be an oxygen question. Diagnosed, received treatment for mental retardation, received ALS, congestive heart failure, Alzheimer's, dementia, last 24 months, cancer, form of cancer, last 12 months. Wow, there is no, so you see right away, CFG, dignified choice, doesn't have a knockout question for oxygen, all right? So maybe here, okay, or use oxygen equivalent to system. So that's in part 2 for greater benefit, but this is, so immediately you can see the difference. So here you go. You can get them a greater benefit CFG in the state of Ohio, but for Foresters, you can't write them plan right because it has the oxygen question. So again, this is where you need to study your applications. Let's look at the other 2 applications for the state of Ohio. Mutual of Omaha, Living Promise, and Monumental. Okay, so this is Mutual of Omaha on the right and Monumental. So Monumental part 1, knockout. Answer yes. So these are all the knockout questions. So Monumental says bedridden, confined to a hospital, nursing home, long-term care, skilled nursing, been advised to receive care in nursing home, hospice, or home health care. Activities of daily living, requiring use of the following: wheelchair, other than for fractures, bone, or joint surgery, including replacement. So here, like they might have like knee surgery or knee replacements. They need temporarily a wheelchair. So they're okay with that here for Mutual of Omaha. But notice oxygen equipment to assist in breathing, excluding sleep apnea. So Mutual of Omaha will decline them. Then here, Monumental, you got the hospital, bedridden, long-term care facility, um, treating for Alzheimer's, memory loss, organic brain disease, so on, AIDS, been in a diabetic coma, received organ transplant last 2 years, treatment for cancer, undergone HIV testing, they haven't received results. So it appears here that Monumental, above age 44, the 45 to 85 application, they're cool with oxygen. Oxygen is probably somewhere down in here, used oxygen. So right away we know that we can do CFG and Monumental in Ohio for oxygen users, but you can't do Mutual of Omaha or Plan Right, Forster's Plan Right. So there you go. So if you run into oxygen in the state of Ohio, know that you have two companies that you can write them with, Mutual of Omaha and CFG. So this is a prime example of why you got to know and compare your applications and what they're allowing and what they're not allowing. And the only way you do that is just by direct comparison, one with the other. Okay, and this will really teach you what all's going on. Now, Ohio is a state that allows graded benefit products. Okay, so you can do graded benefit. But state of North Carolina, if you look at their applications, all of them don't have graded benefit products in it. North Carolina does. Only one company has graded benefit, that's Forster's. But the other four companies in North Carolina do not have a graded benefit. So here's Mutual of Omaha, and then let's look at Forster's. Okay, so this is a Forster's North Carolina final expense application. And then this is the Mutual of Omaha Living Promise final expense application. So you'll notice, since Mutual of Omaha does not have a graded benefit option, it has a larger knockout, larger knockout section here in the underwriting. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's got a bunch of things that they aren't eligible for. But notice with the North Carolina Plan Right, because they have a graded section here, right here, this graded section, if Part C, okay, modified. Okay, so if yes to Part B, Florida's Plan Right with a modified death benefit, they can get this. So any answers yes here, they can get a modified program. Any yes answers here, they can get a graded benefit program. Whereas with Mutual of Omaha Living Promise, it'll knock them out. So let's say Parkinson's disease or systemic lupus. Let's look on, they can get a graded benefit with Forster's. So let's look here if we can find lupus or Parkinson's. Parkinson's, that's a knockout. Systemic lupus, in the past 4 years, that's a knockout. Whereas they can get graded. So here, you'd have to go to Kemper in North Carolina for guaranteed issue, but you can get graded here with Forster's Plan Right. Okay, probably the same thing with CFG, Dignified Choice. Do not submit the application. Oh, that's Ohio. Let's see if we can find CFG's North Carolina app. Oh, okay. This is CFG's North Carolina application. Again, just part 1, which is a knockout. So let's see if we can find Systemic lupus, knockout. Parkinson's is a knockout. Okay, so also CFG, but plan right, you can do plan right. So again, this illustrates that you got to download your applications from your state and figure out which companies are more friendly to certain conditions than others. And the only way you can do it is just go one-to-one comparison so you can get a feel for what it is you're doing with each company and what state you're in. Okay, and then run the rates. If you run the rates on each of these companies, you're going to find that the rates are very similar. PlanRight might be $1 or $2 cheaper. Mutual of Omaha will be kind of middle. CFG will be a little bit, maybe a little bit higher than that, and then Monumental will be kind of in the middle. So, but they don't vary by too much. Okay. The main thing you're going to find, I think, is some of those states that you're in that, with Parkinson's, COPD, obese. For example, like Monumental does not have a height and weight table for age 45 and above. And so if you have a client who does not meet the weight standards, for example, CFG's weight standards, you're going to see here, where's CFG? Okay, CFG, are you a male and over 350 pounds or female over 300 pounds? That's a knockout question. If they don't meet that scenario, then you can write them with Monumental as long as they're age 45 and above, because there is no height and weight table. So there you go. Another advantage with Monumental, that they can even get into it. But Monumental for Parkinson's, for COPD, some of these ailments, you might have to do graded benefit with one of our other companies, but they can get a full benefit program where the death benefit is immediately available from day one with Monumental. So there are some advantages there. Again, you got to know your products by comparing the applications. When you compare applications, you'll be able to get a better idea, and you'll learn your products better. You'll know which ones are more friendly, to different ailments. All right, gang, that's the way to do it. So that is it. Hopefully that'll help you out, and we are done.